And that has sort of helped us get to a new place. Here is the storyboard, where we start off straight ahead with the light, and then throughout the story and the 15-minute conversation, it just morphs and gets really enlightened. And then it showed up, I know, I'm a quick snake oil salesman. You gotta have those really fast. Okay, really slick. So here we go, here's just a glimpse.
My name is Eric Levy, and this is my first great exhibition in America. I have a very strong relationship with nature because I believe that the best source of inspiration is nature through the observation or the experiences that we are living through.
Okay. So here's Eric in front of the light. This was done at the opening.
When Rick first talked to me about this idea, I could only imagine something in my head, and when I saw it the first time, it was, like people say, I've seen the light, but I've seen the voice. And that is a fantastic experience, because the vibration of the voice that I feel when I talk in my throat has been totally transmitted into a visual. And the fact that we are zooming in and out, and it's about space, that puts voices actually filling up the space. And in the installation itself, side by side to the Sparkler video, it has exactly the same moments where it blinks in the same time.
At the same time we're making
the
this
same
one. They don't come
vibration,
together
the
till
same
the show.
depth, and the same
I thought that was rather serendipitous.
at a certain moment you have to stop it.
Okay. Now for the other side of the braid, this is the corporate side. We appreciate an I drive home craft and a typographic understanding. You know, from having designed the letter form, it's like, well, how do you set the letter form? And I prefer a kind of straight ahead setting. Everybody thinks like, whoa, your work's so zoomy. It's actually not. There may be an image attached to it, but the typography is pretty disciplined. And so this for Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill when they started their new firm. Adrian Smith's the guy who did the tallest building in the world, the Dubai Burj, whatever it's called. And it's really just Verlog type, a little bit of modification to it to get the character spacing to work just right. You know, little did Adrian know that his name and the word architecture would be the same character width, with the same tracking, and that his partner's name, Gordon Gill, would also be the same. Like, well, when you get that, it's like done. And then we do the implementation of the tool set for the architects, whether it's their blueprints or their promotional bid documents that they have to do. We did their website, and their website, because Adrian's like the big-ass building guy, I could not imagine us doing a website that had a little JPEG picture surrounded by space that would jam up in the upper left corner or center at best. It's like, way wrong. This thing has to be like you're going to the movie theater. And it has to load that fast. It also has to be set up so it's HTML and the search engines work and they can do all the content implementation and portfolio updates themselves. So it has to work at that level. And there's 3 of us trying to design this website for advance. So they have to launch quickly. So here it is. It's like its own television network. And they have press feeds coming in. It's all just kind of slick. Here's a little preview of the building that he has designed that's going to go in that Skydeck Plaza next to the Sears Tower.
Buildings are the
Okay.
with only a
Oh boy, we write a lot of these scripts. I'm like a good script writer. I love, however, the custom type and the architects sort of like, they really enjoy that part of the process. So obviously I like working with them. And it's easy to sort of engage in style. Style as it relates to structure of the page. So I love the puzzle that's behind the page. I also like the ephemera, and this comes from the Museum of Contemporary Art for their gala invitation, which took place last year. I had individual cards. There were 5 or 6 cards, which I just flashed through. My favorite one was that one. And I wrote it, oh, and this one here, which was the map. It told them the time and where to go. But you had to know the museum, and you had to know that maybe this was the freight elevator access. And that was the time, as opposed to like putting the address. How many buildings in Chicago look like that? And of course, this doesn't say anything except the laser cut of those three names. And Rufus Wainwright was the entertainment, but rather than saying entertainment by Rufus Wainwright, I just took a little piece of text and went into the web translating machine. And so all it says is Rufus Wainwright, prima donna. And he was working on an opera for the Met Opera, and they had just fired him before this was done because he insisted it be done in French. And they said, no way, we want it done in English. So I thought we'd set the story about Rufus coming. And it just so happened that the opera was called Prima Donna. I'll show you some posters here for the click. Oh no, we froze. That's what's happening. Probably click through one of these very fast. In any case, I've been doing the commemorative posters. You know, posters are dead medium here in Chicago. It's probably dead in the United States, but for the Cineplex and for the point of sale, you know, in the Gap window. So posters are gone. But the Lyric Opera has the commemorative poster, and I get to, oh, there it is right there. At least coordinate them. I don't get to design all of them. But since 1989, I've done it. That first one for Tannhauser was photographed by me. It's the lead baritone, and the type was all kind of cut out. And then you get to photograph them and make these images using the bridge. And when we're not doing the photography or the art itself, working with the costume designer to make something happen. You know, Jonathan Barnbrook's type at the Lyric Opera, maybe. This is the new one for this year. The stage direction for The Damnation of Faust was horses run through flames as the sky rains blood. That's pretty. We make a little Hollywood poster of that. And then Harry Potter's movie had just come out, and it had that kind of very cool, like rough metal type, like forged type. So this type here is the same 3D bevel, except it's very thin, and it's very crusty and right in the fire here until it gets nice and crystal shiny at the top. Burn type, there we go. And we do lecture series posters. I've been doing them for years at the IIT. But I usually like to show a custom piece of type. And here the type is just really just straight on discipline. Here's how our design process works. They send us the names, and they send one of the architect's pieces. Well, this was the piece that they sent. And it was this photograph here, a kind of postcard-sized photo of this building that was just featured in the New York Times Arts section, because that sign that said United States of America designed by Pentagram had to be removed. This building was at the Canadian border, and the government thought it was a terrorist threat. Like, whoa, terrorists are going to just like identify that because it says United States? So the idea here was to pretend like this was the beginning of the design series right here. So I just followed the lead, and not really knowing what font, sans serif font that was, I thought, okay, well, every time we have a sans serif font, we're going to make it a different one. You know, it's like Arial, Helvetica, and Oxidants. They all kind of look the same anyhow. And then just make certain that the counters and the alignments all work so that it's legible if you want it to be, but it's collage. It's like hiding there in plain sight. And then that's the back of it. So it's the lecture series and then the seminar. And then it needs to function with the pesky little